right, what's up, everybody? My name is Anthony Brock, and welcome to the Poise Club. For those of you who don't know who I am, again, I said my name is Anthony Brock. Some of you may know me as Anthony. Some of you may know me as Brock. Some of you may even go far back and know me as Brockstar. I mean, if you go that far back and you're watching this right now, shout out to you for being here and supporting me in this endeavor. Okay? You may have also heard me mention something called the Poise Club. Yes, that's exactly where you're sitting right now. It is a space curated for men of color, essentially Black men, just creating a space for us to be able to come together and share our common experiences and find commonalities between us, no matter our sexual orientation, gender identity, professions, aspirations, or even just our views. We're here to just create a space where we can find some level ground and actually have those pertinent conversations. So I created an organization about 3 years ago called Pretty Boy Poise, essentially, which the purpose of Pretty Boy Poise is to redefine self-maintenance for men and allow us to find our balance together. So with me today, I'm going to talk a little bit more about Pretty Boy Poise. I have a friend of mine, somebody that I know closely and have worked with closely on a number of things. He's an amazing person with a vivacious personality and spirit. No matter when you see him, no matter where he is, he's always determined just to be the life of the party and just to make people feel good about themselves and just good about their endeavors and everything like that. So I would be remiss if I did not start off this endeavor with somebody who has literally kind of like catapulted this whole experience for me and gave me all the reassurance that I needed to just take the step and move in this direction. So he is more than just an event curator. His name is Desmond Dunn. So let's give it up for Desmond, everybody. Welcome him to the show. Chicken Head King. I meant to add that he's also referred to as the Chicken Head King across the whole entire world.
International with it.
International. How are you, Desmond?
I'm great. What about yourself?
I'm doing amazing, man. I mean, I'm doing as amazing as we possibly can
Yep.
during these times. And that's funny that I keep feeling the need to even say that because, you know, we are going, it is a very hectic climate right about now these days. So I can't lie and say that, that I don't feel away.
Yep.
However, when I get to share spaces with people like you and people who I already know are aligned with what it is that we're trying to get across, I already know that, you know, or I automatically feel better.
Awesome.
So thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see what comes out of all of this because we're about to do some big stuff.
Do me a favor and just speak up for me a little bit. So when you are talking,
Okay.
so we can make sure that they capture everything that you got to say. Okay.
Of course. Got you. Yeah.
For sure. So again, everybody out there, I wanted you to know, or I wanted to talk to Desmond just a little bit, and he knows about this venture, but obviously a lot of people, this is just being introduced. The idea of Pretty Boy Poise and how that started and where that came from, because if you don't know, today we're talking business. So we're going to dive into a little bit more about why Pretty Boy Poise started and what it means to be essentially a man of poise. So as I said before, you know, I had this idea to create a space for men to be able to just deconstruct the traditional views on masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And find different ways to take care of themselves too. So it sprang out of wellness. There was a time when I worked at the YMCA downtown, so I was a lifestyle coach. And a lot of times we did different things, you know, different classes, or there were different facets of overall wellness. And that's a lot of times people don't understand that. A lot of times you see guys pushing the weights and just lifting the weights, but they're not necessarily concerned about, you know what I mean, their flexible capacity, or, you know what I mean, their cardio capacity and things of that nature. So when we're trying to become well-rounded, especially in the fitness style, you know, there's different avenues that we can do, but as a man, there's also many different facets of being a man, and one of those is business. And I know that's something that is near and dear to your heart. I know that's something that you specialize in, and that the realm that you kind of work around. So, like you, I wanted to just be able to shine a light on that, you know, and shine a light on those men, but also create a space where we could dismantle some of the disbeliefs that we have about each other. And I was talking to you about that before. A lot of times we don't even get the opportunity to speak to people or to speak to men of various backgrounds or sexual identities or gender identities, I should say, sexualities and gender identities. We don't even get a chance to speak to them because they don't even want to come in the door.
They just like, we chilling, we here, but we're not gonna open this door.
Right. So that's what I want to talk to you about then. Just expound a little bit more on that. So what I mean is, we don't have a chance, or sometimes, take my example, Black girls rock. Black girls rock. People know that. People say that. Black girls affirm that. And no matter their identity, or their sexual orientation, they are able to exclaim that with the same amount of pride as the woman standing next to them. Absolutely. But I personally feel as though we, meaning Black men, we have not yet arrived to the point where we could all exclaim that Black men or Black boys matter, because we're still stuck on those most minute things about a person.
Yeah, and that kind of goes into something I'm doing this month, actually. I am doing a social media campaign with Bumble, and the whole campaign is about my sexuality doesn't define me. Or no, let me rephrase that. What I identify as doesn't define me. So what that basically means is that, like, don't judge me based off of what I do in my personal life if it's not affecting you and yours. Judge me based off my work ethic. Judge me based off of what I bring to the table and say, hey, this is what I can do. If my work is bad, then my work is bad and you don't have to work with me. But if I'm an amazing creator, if I'm an amazing graphic designer, or if I'm an amazing fashion designer, and you say, hey, I don't want to work with you because you're gay, that's just insane to me. You're gay, or you're bisexual, or you're trans, or whatever. It's literally the most insane thing to me. And I think something that us men first, Black men, have to get over is ego. That's a big thing. We play the association card a lot, where it's like, if I'm associated with this person, people are going to think this. And it's like, we have to get out of that whole realm of thinking that because you have a friendship or a work relationship with somebody, that people are going to associate you to be that kind of person. If the people around you know who you are, then that's all that matters. One of my favorite quotes from Dr. Seuss, and I might say it wrong because I always mess it up, but I believe he say, those who matter don't mind, and those who mind don't matter. Yes, that's the quote. That's the quote. And that's very self-explanatory, so it's like, the people that matter to you, they know you. They know you completely who you are. So if you're going to say, hey, I'm working with this person of whatever, identity, nobody's going to say, oh, you must be with that. Like, no. And I think we just gotta, Black men have to uplift each other. We have to uphold each other, and we have to just keep each other accountable for things like that. Like, understanding that, like, it's all about uplifting and making our communities better for the people that come after us.
Right. And I agree with you 100%. And I feel like that's why I wanted to take this leap, because in my experience, and I think that that's something that we don't talk about a lot, and that's why I feel great being able to be open and being able to be out. You know what I'm saying? Now, in this year, it'll make 1 year of me being officially out on July 1st.
Oh,
so,
wow.
I mean, shout out to that. I mean, it's not like a lot of people didn't already know, or, that I wasn't already confident in that in myself. It was just more so disclosing it.
Yeah.
However, I feel like I have to do my part in that regard, because it is not my experience necessarily to be disregarded, pushed aside, or whatever, know what I'm saying, when somebody wanted to work with me. But I know that is somebody else's experience out there, and I recognize the privilege in my stance, or in myself, in my ability to be able to, unrecognizably walk around or flow or be a part of this sports team or be a part of this organization or be a part of this group.
Yep.
And I recognize that some people are not afforded that same opportunity at face value because people are already writing them off, for their sexuality or just for their overall expression.
Absolutely.
And that's not, I don't think that's really fair, obviously, because just like you mentioned, you said you're doing a partnership with Bumble coming up. First of all, before we talk a little bit more about that, can you share any experiences or how has that affected you? How has that impacted you? And has that impacted you in any way?
So actually, the funny thing is, I've never, that I know of, had an experience where somebody didn't want to work with me because of my sexuality. I came out at 21, so I'm not too far behind you with the whole coming out thing. But it's always been the same thing. If it wasn't a thing where it's like it kind of wasn't, as they say, obvious in a sense. But I've never ever had any of those issues happen to me that I know of. Like I said, I'm very good at approaching somebody and saying, hey, this is what I want, this is what I want to do. And but the reason why I started this type of campaign was because I have my friend, he don't even know I really started because of him, but he had told me a story about something that he does in his specific career field, and he gets judged on it because of what specifically it is. And I don't want to give out that information, but yeah. So, and it was just like, that's so crazy that like here we are with somebody who has this beautiful talent that he can help other people, and people say, I don't want to work with you because you do this. Or a prime example, I've even had, to go even deeper, I did have a situation actually where, for people who don't know, I cheered in college.
I did too.
And I was actually one of 2 gay boys on the team out of a team of 24. So what? Everybody else was straight. And I had a guy tell me, I don't want to date you because you cheer. And I'm like, maybe you're thinking about sideline cheer where we don't do anything. But in college, I'm tossing 150-pound people in the air. I'm flipping, I'm stumbling, I'm talking to people like it's not just like I'm sitting there like waving pom-poms, But that's something that just goes to knock out like your sexuality or who you are. Like you're judging me based off of something I'm doing in my personal life and thinking that, oh, because you do that, it might affect whatever is going on over here.
Yeah. No. I mean, definitely, I feel like that's definitely a place that we can relate. And I'm glad, again, that we can even have this conversation because we don't talk about it often. And me and you, even though we share that commonality, like cheering in college, again, we don't necessarily share the experience that came with, what I'm saying, that like you just said, like you just pointed out, people not wanting to date you or people not wanting to even surround themselves with you because of an insecurity at best, what I'm saying?
Because while you talking junk, I'm getting paid some money per semester to be on this team.
Okay. And then not only, and see, this is how I used to say it, not only are you talking junk, but I'm actually good.
I'm really dope.
So, I mean, that's really all that matters. If I'm good at what I do.
Yes.
And I mean, I feel like that's all we really have at this intersection. And I want to let, obviously, the viewers know that not every conversation is about this, right? This is a conversation with my peer, what I mean? Somebody who is aligned with me, somebody who shares the same sexual identity as me or same sexual orientation as me. Come on. So this is literally us just being able to have this candid discussion and draw those commonalities. So again, I cheered in college. My thing was this. I had a bunch of guys still to this day. It's about 7 of us in total. My bros. I'm talking heterosexual, cis heterosexual men who you see walking down the street and you think that was a man, blah, blah, blah. That's who I surrounded myself with. Not because I was trying to emulate, but because I felt comfortable around them and because they respected me in the space that I was in. And again, I told you I came out last year. I graduated from college about 5 years ago, to be exact. Okay. So, of course, they were hip, but they weren't exploiting me, nor were they rushing me in any direction. And on the topic of cheer, my bros was behind me at the basketball games. Talking about some, go, bro. I see you, bro. I see you, Ant.
Yeah.
So those things like that, those pushed me, you know what I'm saying, to be the man that I am today. Those things pushed me, that acceptance. And again, acknowledging that privilege afforded me a level head, you know what I mean, to be able to produce something that I'm doing today. Absolutely. You know what I mean? I didn't take it to the head and run with it and, become mightier or holier than thou. Again, I just wanted to create a space for us all to be able to have those conversations, because I don't like it for my friends who are, you know what I'm saying, outwardly and quote unquote visibly gay, right? To be going around, or whatever they want to decide that they are, visibly that, you know, and people exploiting them, or, you know what I'm saying, excluding them for no reason.
Yeah.
Those things are unacceptable to me, because that wasn't necessarily my experience. And not to say that I wasn't shunned. It was just,
don't know. Yeah.
It was just in spaces and from people, if you want to be real about it, it was from people closer to me than friends.
Yeah.
So who's closer to you than friends? Family.
Yep.
So if you want to talk about who is exclusive, shouting this and shouting that, then we can unpack that luggage and that baggage at another time.
Because, talk about it.
Because it wasn't hard for my friends to accept me, but it was harder, I felt, you know what I'm saying, for family and the people around me to accept me. And I mean that through embracing me, through conversation. We were able, I mean, I don't know about you, but I was able to have much harder conversations with people outside of my family than I really was with my family. And things have got better, admittedly, we can talk. But what about you in that regard?
In that regard, so for me, like I said, it was always one of those things where it was like, it's obvious, but we just gonna leave it alone. I think people have questioned it my whole life, but it was just like, whatever. So when I officially came out to my family, it was one of those things like, okay, next news. Like, that's how my family was, literally, like, it was like, okay, next, bye. You know, because I'm still, like, to this day, I'm still the same me.
Right.
You know, nothing changed. And I think one thing that was, like, my family said, they was like, you're not about to, like, become, like, you know, a girl, or you're not about to, like, go all out. I'm like, no, I know the people, what y'all know fine. Like, me, myself, and y'all. Because it's one thing, somebody said that to me too, like, it's one thing to come out to the public, but it's another thing to come out to yourself.
Yes.
Coming out to yourself is really accepting it, like, yo, like, you gay. And the funny thing is, I came out to the public, but I just came out to myself.
Right.
Literally, which means it's like, okay, like, stop trying to act a certain way around certain people and hide your, you know, like, you gay. It's okay.
Right.
It's okay. It's okay.
People be gay.
What you or they not. Like, that's it.
Listen, people be gay.
People be gay. Like, it be straight nigga. It be straight boys.
Look. Stop it. See, yes, I understand 100% where you were about to go with that conversation. See, that's the thing. No. It's not a problem. It's not a problem with that, but we will go back. But that is the one thing that people have to understand. It's better to just, you know what I mean, accept yourself, and then allow people to allow you to grow on them as you begin to grow in your own understanding, and you begin to grow on yourself, right? I was already aware, but I just I couldn't fathom everybody else just being in my business. That's just not my thing.
I'm still like that.
You know, it just wasn't my thing, you know what I mean? So even still, I made a public announcement. You know what I mean? Because I like to think that the people that I surround myself with and my family are not dumb. You know what I mean? And I don't say that in a really bad way, but they're just not slow in that regard. So they always they always knew what it was, but I wanted to make that public announcement because I felt like that was the one thing holding me back from creating this platform. You know what I mean? That was the one thing holding me back from being able to connect to the audiences and bring together the people that I want to bring together. You know what I mean? I want to curate spaces as well, but I couldn't do that if I don't tap into me first.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So
I falls in line with like the business stuff, you know. I've been
let's talk about that. So first of all, business for you. Where did this come about? Why? What made you want to get into business? Is it something that you went to school for?
So, funny thing. Okay, how do I explain it?
I know that was loaded, but take your time.
No, it wasn't loaded. I'm just trying to figure out the best way to go into it. So for me, the way business kind of happened, the real true story is it probably would have been my senior year of high school. Me and one of my old friends at the time started a online magazine, and it was called The Fashion Bazaar. And this was before, like, if you're from Detroit, this was like right around the time of like Faux Show magazine came out and like.
Oh, I remember.
Detroit. So it was a magazine that it was like it could have went there. We could have like really went there. And we did it our senior year, and it was cool. But then we both was kind of just like we don't want to do it no more. Now the funny thing is though, I went to school for medicine originally, and I believe my friend time went to school for something else. And what's so funny is now looking back, I always tell people my passion found me. I didn't find my passion, because what my role was with the magazine was to handle the marketing aspect of it, and what my friend role was to handle. She did like the website creation and like build the website, all that stuff like that. And now here she is, years later, almost 10 years later, because now we're about to be in 2011. She now has her own branding company doing websites, graphics, logos, flyers, all those things. And I have my own company doing marketing, branding, things of that nature. So when I got to college, like I said, my original major was it was actually athletic training, and I was to be a sports medicine doctor. And from there, I was like, I've never ever had like your regular teenage job. Like I never worked at a fast food restaurant. I never worked at the mall and retail, any of those things like that. 18, my first job was interning for a radio station doing promotional marketing.
Oh, nice.
I went to college, and my first job in college was social media management for our recreation center. And then from there, I got another social media job with an apartment complex. And then I joined organizations and was doing marketing and event planning for these organizations. So it got to a point where I was like, in college, I was just like, I'm chasing this athletic training degree, and it's like everything you do is around marketing, bro. Like, what are you doing? So from there, before I went to college, rewind, I started my business called Reveal Detroit.
Okay, yes.
So let me go into that. So how Reveal Detroit came about was I came home from school for one summer, and I was doing, I was going to summer classes at Wayne County Community College. I was working with the Detroit Tigers, and I lived downtown. So I had dedicated that summer to learning downtown. And anybody who knows me knows I'm a really, really big foodie. I love food. Specifically like restaurants. I like the whole ambiance of going to a restaurant, checking out what the atmosphere is. I'm really big into like bar and cocktails and food and menu. Like I'm really big into that whole like just hospitality industry in general. So I would go to all these different restaurants, and back in the day when Instagram was just like for fun, I would always post my food.
Oh, you was one of those people.
Oh, we have froze for a second.
It's okay. Are you back?
Yeah. I'm back. Okay. So yeah, I will always post my food, and people will always ask like, "Where you at? What you doing?" Yada yada yada. So from there, I'm just like, "Well, let me start Revealing Detroit." And so Reveal Detroit started off of me wanting to reveal different restaurants and bars and stuff like that around the city. So that was like my first like at entrepreneurship.
Let me just interject, because I want to say and I want to get across. First of all, I had no idea.
Oh yeah.
So I am genuinely like smiling from ear to ear right now, because I had no idea that like that's where the name came from. Yeah. I do recall, you know what I'm saying, people being real big on food, and you know, there were no rules, there were no parameters for the old Instagram. So like there was no scheme. It was pre-influencer, so you posted what you wanted. However, I think that is very, you know, outstanding, you know what I mean, that you had kind of like that push. Yeah. And that's amazing, you know what I'm saying, that push that we get to move in a direction. And yours was as simplistic as is Pretty Boy Poise, you know what I'm saying, deconstructing that, but also revealing Detroit. So essentially we're trying to reveal this other aspect of men here, and you're trying to reveal the many aspects that make our great city. But go ahead and continue with how you got started with that.
So I did Review Detroit. I created like a really cool like marketing plan for it, where basically like for like 30 days straight, I just posted the flyer on social media, which is so funny now looking back because like I'm really sweet at marketing.
You are actually.
But look, not to hype myself up, but yeah, I did like this really cool social media strategy. I was like, I had like a team of 5 people, and we would just post like the Review Detroit logo for like 30 days straight. And people would ask like, "What is it? What is it?" And I would never say anything. And then I dropped a flyer for I like built out the website, I built up content, all those things like that. And then I had a business launch party. I don't know what to call it, but yeah, I launched the Review Detroit. Mm-hmm. And I did it in partnership with a Black-owned company that used to be in Midtown called Thrift on the Ave.
Oh, yes.
They gave me my first ever, like, they were the first people to ever believe in me. Like, I literally met them. The same day I met them was the same day they were like, "You should have your event here," which was really amazing. And they pretty much had always just followed me ever since then. But yeah, so that was Review Detroit. Then I went back to school and kind of just gave up on Review Detroit. And no, that's not what happened. Actually, somebody gave me advice. And they basically told me it was a popular person in the city who business had took off, and I had reached out to him for advice. And he was like, "Well, white people got all of the money, so like, what's going to make yours different than anybody else's?" And it kind of just really put a damp in what I was doing. And I just gave up. I went back to school, and I didn't do Review Detroit since I had stopped Review Detroit in 2015. Mm-hmm. And one particular person, one of my friends, will always reach out like, "Man, like, I'm about to steal your name. Like it's such a dope name. We should do something with it." And I'm just like, nothing. So I came back home in 2017, and that's when I kind of was like, all right, I want to focus on trying to figure out what exactly is the purpose of Review Detroit, how do I want to do it, what kind of information I want to roll out, things like that. And then I also started my marketing company, which was Dunn Creative Agency. Mm-hmm. Well, Dunn Creative Agency started in 2017, and that's where I started to, get into helping companies and people build their brands and understanding business more and things of that nature.
So let's recap.
Yep.
First of all, you're amazing. Secondly, you have an organization called Review Detroit. Mm-hmm. Now, thirdly, you have a marketing agency, consulting agency. This is a lot.
It is. It's a lot.
So what I say that to say, I mean, I want you to continue because it's such an amazing story. Like, and I'm learning a lot. I say that to say, look how much changed in a moment.
Literally.
You know what I mean? Look how much changed in the moment from you being in medical and athletic. Would you say athletic training? Listen, I take notes. I listen. With you being in athletic training, and then you just have this opportunity to help with something, and it explodes into this whole realm of now you just spearheading, grabbing business by the reins, not going to school for it necessarily, grabbing it by the reins, and then now you have 2 separate companies from that. The first company is you being amazing, right? So, I mean, now you have 3 companies. You're the first, then Reveal, then Dunn Creative Agency. So we have to keep in mind that we the company first, right? Because you would not be able to manifest those things without that sense of self in you. And one thing I want to say to you, you know what I'm saying, before you continue that part, is you said something essential, and you said something that triggered me and kind of like made me a bit emotional in the sense that when you have these ideas, if you think of them as seeds, right? You have these ideas, you think of them as seeds. With the seed, in order to harvest it and make it beautiful, you have to nourish it. You have to tend to it, right? But sometimes the soil, because you can forget about it, sometimes the soil can become hard and rocky. In that period, that's when you say that you quit. Yep. You dropped it, right? But guess what? You didn't really drop it. Guess what? There was just nothing that you could do for it at that time. You had to equip yourself with more nutrients, with more assets to kind of like assist that harvest and to make that soil much more productive. There were things that you had to do. There were experiences that you had to experience, people that you had to meet. conversations that you had to have, feelings, emotions that you had to experience in order to come back to it. So I say that to you with love, and I'm so happy that you did it, because that's what I did. I didn't drop Pretty Boy Poise. I created Pretty Boy Poise in 2017. I'm not concerned. I'm only concerned about organic growth. I'm concerned about what has already been happening, and I feel like in 2017, that might have been my concern. Why can't I push this to people? Why aren't they joining? Why aren't they following? Why don't they see my idea? Why don't they share the same opinion or viewpoints as me? Guess what? That is not even the focus of this thing anymore. And it took something like coronavirus to stop me. You know what I'm saying? Replant me, allow me to refocus. And it's something about the top of that decade, because 10 years ago, I was leaving high school. So now, all that energy, that angst that I had about the world, that vision that I had for the world, guess what? It's returned.
It's back, and it's like, okay, it's back. What we do for the next decade?
It's back, baby. And I'm like, so I'm picking up. But guess what? It's better to go back to something that was already partially developed than to start something completely new. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You can always spruce something up.
You can't force it. What's meant to be will always be what's meant to be. And that's something that people need to understand about like passion and purpose. I'm really big on people figuring out what their purpose is in life. I'm really, really big on that. And that was why I made such a decision, like, okay, boom, like you're running away from marketing, and it's like, it's your thing, bro. Like, you're good at it. You're good at event planning. You're good at strategy. You're good at creating. You're good at putting stuff together. Like, how could you deny something that's naturally you? Who am I to be like, I'm going to go to school for athletic training, go get my degree in sports medicine? And then had to come to the point where I asked myself, do you love medicine or do you love marketing? And then which one can you see yourself doing for the rest of your life? Mm-hmm. And I was like, I love medicine, but marketing is something I can see myself doing for the rest of my life and being happy.
Yes.
That was the determining factor for me. This is what's going to make me happy. Mm-hmm. This is who I truly am, and I can't deny it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I agree with you, and I can't deny that. I feel like it's my duty for real to truly, as much as I love the performing arts, right? As much as I love like acting and performing and being on stages and things of that nature, I really also love level-headed discussions and things of substance. So that's why, I wanted to create something where we can just feel, right? Because a lot of times I feel like people think that even Black men, we're incapable of feeling. We're incapable of creating these types of settings. You know what I'm saying? We're compassionate and looking out for each other, and seeing eye to eye and actually, being human and recognizing the human in each other. I think that that's very essential. So, but I did want to just ask you, you did say, right, you created Reveal Detroit some while ago. You created D-Dunn Consulting Agency and things like that. I just want to know, since Thrift on the Ave, your first event, right? Mm-hmm. What has that been like for Reveal Detroit since Thrift on the Ave? When was Thrift on the Ave, and like how many events have you done since, and what's been the experience? Woo! Right, exactly. Okay, so, I know that's loaded.
Yeah, okay, so Thrift on the Ave was like the first time where I really was like, wow, like I can do something. Since Thrift on the Ave.
And what was that? Wait, before you go on, what was Thrift on the Ave about? Like, what was that collaboration about?
At a moment, so the store was called Thrift on the Ave. I just held my event there, but I did like I said, that was my brand launch. So basically, I kind of made it where the network and make sure you could sit and shop at the same time.
Oh, okay.
I announced Reveal Detroit to the public.
Okay, yes.
That's what that event was. It was at a location called Thrift on the Ave.
Is that the store that's on Cass?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
With the diamond shop. Yep. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that was that. And then from there, I did. So I've always been a person who is heavy into the arts. Mm-hmm.
Me too.
I did poetry. I was a dancer, choir, all of these things as a child, and going up through high school doing stuff like that. So, I have done a couple of music showcases with fashion and art can intertwine. I've done music festivals. I have done panels, networking mixers. how many events have I done since then? That was in 2015 when I launched the company. I launched a company and gave up on the company all within the first year. But since then, I don't know how many events I've done. I mean, let's be clear. In 2019, I did 18 events. Yeah. In 2019, last year, I did 18 events. 18 events had the Reveal Detroit stamp on. So, in 2018, I did about, I don't remember. But what made me count last year was because I put this pressure on myself so much that I feel like I'm not doing enough. Mm. You know, and my friends, people who are around me consistently tell me, like, you do so much, like, you only 26, like, you did your first music festival and it was funded by you didn't have no sponsors, you had 30 artists, like, these are all major accomplishments. And I'm just like, for me, it's like, no, like, it's not enough. I'm not impacting my community. Like, people don't know who I am, people don't know the work I'm trying to do, they don't know what I want to do for the city. It was like those type of things. I felt like I need my voice to be heard, you know? And it's just like, now I'm not focused on those things. It's like, when it's meant to be heard, it will be. But I had to figure out what my passion, my purpose was, and, you know, all those things like that. But yeah, so Reveal Detroit since 2015, giving up and coming back to it, all those things like that. I've done a lot of events, but it's been a roller coaster. It's been a really great roller coaster. It has always remained exactly what it's supposed to be, but it has grown into making sure that, like, anything I do is impactful. And that is always the type of person that I want to be known as. My legacy, when I leave this world, whenever that is, I want people to say, he did this, he left this impact on me, or, you know, these were the type of programs he did, and this is the type of work that he did. Like, that is like the most important thing to me. Not the money, not the fame, not the accolades. It's the, when you leave this world, did you leave an impact?
Emoji.
Literally.
Emoji. I'm not about to play. Look. Emoji. I'm not about to play. Emoji. I'm all the emojis right now because you literally, if I could have gotten out of this stool, off this stool, I would have gotten off this stool and did a little dance. Did a little dance for you. I can actually get up and do a little dance if I want to. Look. Hey, parents still getting that. Hey. Okay. Anyway, no. I think that is an incredible, you know, journey, and an incredible message for people. And I think they need to recognize that, you know, there are everybody's journey is different, but the journey is what's most important, and that's the thing that I want to
most important thing.
The journey is what's most important. It's literally, at the end of the day, you know what I mean? It's like you said, it's not about the fame, it's not about the money, it's about expressing yourself creatively, because that's what your soul needs to do.
Yeah.
Like, if it's something that you love, that's just what your soul needs to do. And one quote that I always loved from Maya Angelou was, people won't remember the things you said. They won't remember the things you did. But they'll always remember the way you made them feel.
Woo! Come on now. I like that one.
Okay. Yeah. So, exactly. So, what you're talking about is impact. That's more so a virtual. I mean, that's more so like a huge component to our identity today. And that is something that a lot of people would say either it's a bad thing, you know what I'm saying? Because we're all searching to make an impact, you know what I mean? But I feel like, what else are you living for?
Yeah.
What else are you really living for? Because at the end of the day, money's not going to respond to you. Money's not going to give you the reassurance you need. Money can't talk. You know what I mean? Money can buy you, like, I don't like to necessarily say money can't buy happiness, because to an extent, if you're in a rut, it just might be able to buy you something temporarily to
comfortability for the time.
That's okay, so to an extent, it does buy you happiness, but ultimately, we are nothing, you know what I'm saying, with just that.
Yeah.
And So going back to your, Reveal Detroit, because again, we're talking business
Absolutely.
today. I just want to say, I've been to several Reveal Detroit functions. And I can honestly say several because, come on, I've been to the carnival. I've been to the workouts.
Yeah, the
At
pride
the
is.
hustles.
Yeah.
Stop playing. So let's talk a little bit about that. And when is that coming back up? I mean, obviously, at this point, I don't feel like saying Corona or Coronacation and quarantine. I don't feel like that's an excuse for our mobility, right? I'm here trying to make this moment happen. So I know you do hustle events. You do carnival where you're bringing everybody together and there's musical artists and vendors and all this good stuff. Talk a little bit about those.
So yeah,
An
ever since
idea
I
where
started
those came from.
Detroit, I got, like I said, I've always been into the arts. That's always been something I'm really like big on, especially here in the city. I think I want to say one thing. I think a lot of people don't understand how passionate I really am about Detroit and this city in itself. I like really anything that I do is with great intent for the betterment of our city, like to improve opportunity and just showcase what we have here. Like everything I do, it's always about Detroit. That's the first thing in my mind. My therapist had to make me realize that. It's so crazy that you don't realize like what your passion really is. I was like, girl, I don't know. Tell me, help me figure it out. But so the festival, once I started doing like music showcases and stuff, I used to always say like, I want to do a music festival. I want to do a 3-day music festival. I kept saying that for years. And November 2018, I was like laying in the bed late at night and I was just like, I'm tired of being scared. I'm tired of not taking risks. I have all of these contacts. I'm not utilizing my connections that I have and things like that. And that night I stayed up to like 7 a.m. in the morning and I had planned out a whole music festival for 2019. 2019 came and it was like, it's go time, So what's so funny is what people don't realize is in the middle of me planning a music festival with 30 artists, I did hustle classes. I was working full time. I was doing other events. I was doing pride events. I did hustle classes. I was getting booked to do stuff with people, bridal showers. I did some stuff with Quicken Loans. I did some stuff with Nesby. Like I was doing a lot of things last year, and for some reason, for me, it just felt like it wasn't enough. Like it just was not enough. Like I'm not doing enough. But yeah, the festival was amazing. Had a really great turnout. It did exactly what it needed to do. Amongst the festival, I created a program, partnered with the DPS. I don't even know if you know this or not, but I created a program with the DPS in partnership with the festival where I wanted to work with specifically high school kids. And what I did was, it was a 4-week pilot program, and they were able to have a 1-week internship at different companies in the entertainment industry. And the last week, they would come and actually volunteer at the festival, and it would be considered an internship credit for them going into college.
Okay.
So they were able to work with Campbell Ewald, which is a really huge marketing agency downtown.
Okay.
They were able to work with the city of Detroit. I had a partnership with the city of Detroit, Campbell Ewald, L Club, and there's one more. Now it's called the Aretha Amphitheater. But at the time it was called, it was the Aretha Amphitheater at the time too. They had just made the switch. And then they came and worked on my festival. So for 5 weeks, they were able to go to different places and figure out what they do and stuff like that. And the purpose of that program was that we have these jobs that kids don't know about that exist.
Right.
And you might say, hey, I like music. And the only thing that you think that you could do in the music industry is either be a rapper or a DJ or a producer. But it's like, no, you might want to work in the music industry, and your lane might be something like, I might want to do marketing for music artists, or I might want to book artists for concerts, or I might want to that was the purpose. I might want to help improve the city by working with artists in the city to, improve the culture. Like, that was the whole purpose of just showing them, like, there's different jobs in every industry, but people are not showing them those things. Like, people who are fashion design, people who into fashion, the only job that they think they can do is, I'm either a model or a stylist or a fashion designer. But you can be somebody who does marketing. You can do, PR. You could be the photographer. Yes. You could be the videographer. Yes. You could be the magazine. Like, it's so many things that you can do, but people don't know because they're not getting the information to hear about all these different job opportunities. Mm-hmm. So I created that program with the DPS last year on top of the festival. So, awesome. My goal is just to always, like I said, improve our way of living and create opportunities for our people here in the city.
No, and definitely, I think that's exactly what you've done. I mean, like I said, I've been to several of the events, so I think it's cool. And I think it's cool for us to be able to have this discussion, and for you to say that originally Reveal Detroit started as a foodie thing. You know what I mean? It started as a foodie thing. Not to say that your events as of late haven't had an emphasis on food, but exactly, right? And I like that though, because I feel like you expanded while we're still open. We still want to eat.
Still my thing, and that's like I keep it. I've now learned how exactly what I want to post and exactly what I want to focus on. So you will start to see things focused around that going into the rest of 2020 and 2021 and moving forward. But food is still the focus. Right. I actually have some really dope things coming for food. But there's still a focus. But I just had to go through the phase of figuring out how you got to figure out who you are. I had to figure out who Reveal Detroit was.
Right.
I had to figure out Reveal Detroit's identity. Mm-hmm. What is the message I want to relay? Mm-hmm. How do I want people to feel about Reveal Detroit? What is the emotional connection? Mm-hmm. And those were things that I had to figure out before I could just really come back full force.
What it sounded like, it really sounded like you were creating life. Yeah. You had to, your business essentially. So what you're saying is that your business has to be this living, and I know you referred to it. I mean, it's been referred to it as that. If people don't know, business is referred to as a live entity. You know what I mean? So in order to, I'm going to put it in like acting terms. When you're developing characters, right, you have to make that person as 3D as possible. If somebody asks you a question, what color is her hair? Oh, it's blonde. What kind of highlights? Oh, they're brown. Because you need to know this girl's story. What's her job? You need to know her family connection. All
that these emotional connection happens. Yes, the most important thing. That's how people emotionally connect. Like I said, that might be something I need to focus on later in life. I'm thinking about it, but telling the story of what a company is what will make somebody say, I support this company. I am what we like to call in the business world, we like to call people cult followers. Mm-hmm. Where the people who drop something and it's gone just like that, like it's sold out just like that. Or if they drop an event, the tickets sell out that fast for the event, because you got people who just so invested into who you are as an individual, into who your brand is and what you do. And that is what you want to make, your company be.
Right. And I think that's amazing advice. And I think that anybody who has, either partnered with Reveal Detroit or who has even gone to any of your events can obviously tell that it's more than just, it's more than just an organization. It's definitely a vibe. It's definitely a feeling. And it definitely makes the impact that you wanted to create, whether people, what I'm saying, feel it or don't. I feel like most of the time they always do.
I think they feel it, and it's just me who be like, how was that? Like, you think they got it? Did they people enjoy that stuff? Because I'm really, really big on experiences. Yeah. I'm really, really big on people the experience is amazing from the minute you walk in the door to the moment you leave. I'm really big on I want you to have the experience of seeing a flyer.
Exactly.
You have an experience seeing a flyer.
and that's the thing. And it's okay. And that's the thing that a lot of people don't realize when you do have these businesses and things like that is, especially when you're doing it by yourself in the early days, right? You're building it. You might have consults and people that you talk to, right? But you're building it by yourself. You have to create these deliverables. You have to create all these little different things that further push that feeling that you're trying to create on behalf of your business. So that those things matter. So even like the little cute little invite that I sent you, you know, the reminder for this show, like down to that thing, I was like, I want to make sure that I'm detailed, that I'm tactful, and that I'm, you know, impactful in that regard too. So thanks for shouting it out and liking it, right? So, but those things really matter. And I think that the pieces that you've equipped yourself with over the years since the inception of Reveal Detroit, as well as Dunn Creative Agency, right? Dunn Creative Agency. So I think the pieces that you've acquired, you're still acquiring more, and you're still becoming more and more of a dynamic role in our community. And I think that as long as you continue to do, like for real, as long as you continue to do what it is that you're doing, you know what I'm saying? Allow yourself to be open to assistance. And that's a note to self, to be open to assistance and know that you are worthy of being supported. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times, again, being your own worst critic, you might criticize yourself into a hole, and you feel like nobody could possibly want to work with a person like me. You know what I'm saying? Doing what I'm doing, falling as short as I'm falling. But you know what? Take this bit of advice, and then we're gonna change gears just a little bit. Especially during this, and I had to learn this about work. You know, I'm still working, essential worker out here, still teaching online, right? But one thing I had to learn is we're all kind of like set back here. We're all in a bit of a frenzy. We're all in a bit of an unknown territory, and we have to forgive ourselves.
Yeah.
We have to forgive ourselves for everything that we might possibly fall short on, especially like with work and things like that. And then especially with all of these, with racial tension and things like that happening in our country right now, we have to forgive ourselves professionally. We just do, because we have to be able to take care of self.
And that's the first thing I've been telling people, like, that meme that's been going around, like, if you don't come out of this with some type of new skill or a new business, something like that, like you late, something like that, it's like, no, like, the skill of surviving alone is like the skill that's all you need to have. Like, don't feel the pressure of those things. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's okay to say, I don't want to do no work. I don't want to be an influencer. I don't want to focus on social media. Take this time to breathe. Take this time to just focus on you. Figure out your mental, like tap into your mind, your body, your soul, and just really understand who you are as an individual. That's a skill.
Yes.
Take the time to learn how to communicate, see your family, talk to your family. Those are things that people don't do on a daily basis. And now you have the time to do so because you don't have nothing to do.
Exactly.
Rebuild relationships.
Please.
That's a skill. You don't have to come out of here and say, oh my gosh, I got 3 new streams of income. Look at me. We don't care.
We don't.
Stop trying to do it for social and do it for you.
That's so true, because you eventually gonna run yourself content crazy.
Okay.
Content crazy, trying to create stuff just for the appeal. And that's something that's been talked about too. And we'll talk a little bit more about that offline. You know, that's been talking about too, just the overall influencer / socialite, that where influencers and socialites stand in regards to progress. Yeah. Okay. That's a whole different story. Apparently they're blocking, you know what I mean, the progress, because they tend to side, or the indifference tends to send the wrong message. So that's another conversation that we'll definitely have offline. But right now, what I want to talk about, I have different facets of Pretty Boy Poise and of Pretty Boy Poise. So here at the Poise Club, I like to dive into a bunch of different aspects. So what I mean is, I believe that a man of poise is well balanced in the realms of fitness. He's well balanced in the realm of education, health and nutrition, style, business, politics, the arts and entertainment, as well as travel and a bunch of other things, right? But those 7 or 8 things that I just mentioned are, I feel like, are pivotal, right? Yeah. And they are so essential. So from the ones that I just named, which other ones would you say apply to your life and give you a sense of balance?
Okay, so what was the 8?
So I said fitness, education, health and nutrition, style, business, politics, arts and entertainment, and travel.
So one thing I'm really, really big on since 2017 or 2018 is self-care in a sense. I know all those things fall in self-care, but when I say self-care, I'm talking about skincare routines, hair routines, manicure and pedicures, going to fit,
I did
therapy.
mine today.
Those things, like having those moments to yourself. And some people, moment to themselves is going to the gym, you know what I'm saying, or smoking a cigar, whatever it may be. But just having those moments of like how girls have those self-pamper moments, we need those self-pamper moments. We need to just be able to say, this is for, like,
I agree.
One thing I'm really big on, one of my like things I love to do is I actually like to go to the movies by myself. I don't like going with nobody. I like to go to the movies, get my popcorn, supersize it with my supersized drink, and pick out one time. I literally go to the movies twice a month. I love movies, and I like to go by myself.
Listen, that is a slept-on luxury. You know what I mean? Going to the movies by yourself. I've only done that maybe a few times, and I actually really did enjoy myself. You don't realize how much you do enjoy yourself when you.
I'll be like, wow, you're really entertaining, bro.
It's a very intentional act.
Yeah.
You go to the movies by yourself, watch that movie by yourself, stay awake in that movie by yourself, and leave by yourself. Normally, movies is a group experience, and if you fall asleep, somebody will wake you up.
Yes.
You ain't got to drive home, but now you like, ugh. And then normally when I go, it's on a Sunday and it's early.
Right.
So when I get out,
I like to be out at nighttime. I'll be there like with the dates. Like people be out on dates, it be groups of kids. I'll be right there by myself in my seat, laid back with my popcorn, covered in butter, white cheddar cheese.
You are so silly. I mean, I think that is that's absolutely amazing though. I do my self routine as well. I make sure of when I get a chance to do it. I do facial mask, I do my nails, I'll do all that. The only thing that I don't really touch is my hair. And let's not even talk about it because coronation/quarantine has really screwed me over because the new growth is on fleek. You know what I'm saying? Everybody hiding beneath a do-rag or a hat. But I did get a chance to go to the barbershop because my barber was back open. Shout out to him. And yes, they were practicing cleanliness. They had the sanitizer and gloves for anybody out there that want to jump down my throat. Don't be mad at me because your barber not open. Look.
Not open yet. Got a governor.
But my salon is not open yet. But anyway, last before we go today, because we had an amazing conversation. And like I said, time just goes away when you're having an impactful conversation. I hope that the people out there were able to follow along in this discussion. You know, I hope that we were able to spread a positive message to somebody out there. I hope that we were able to teach somebody about something. And also, I hope this is an opportunity for you to extend that, or this is an opportunity for us to extend that olive branch and let you know that we are here. We are Active Resources. We are here for men of color, Black men. We are here, you know, and we are more than what? Our what?
Sexuality and identities.
More than our sexualities and our gender identities. So we don't want y'all to be afraid to come into the Poise Club. Again, this is for people who have the art, or for men who have found their balance in whatever aspect of their life. What is the balance that you have? What is your sense of poise? And a lot of time people think that that's associated with women, poise. But no, men, once we truly find our balance, then can we trailblaze together and be the force that we were truly meant to be. So before you go, I want to ask you, is there any advice that you have for anybody that's trying to get started, but they just need that one extra push?
I would say, whatever you do, make sure you're 100% like into it. Because if you are not passionate about it, you will not give it your all. And whatever you do, you should never be doing something to just make it by. It should be something that you genuinely love to do. And when you know that you really love it is when you wake up and you think about it, and you think about it all day, and it never feels like work. It just feels like it's another thought process. So believe in yourself, trust in yourself, take the time to figure it out. Don't rush the process, because what's meant for you will be meant for you whenever it happens.
Amen. And with that said, everybody, again, thank you so much for tuning into the first rendition of The Poise with me, Anthony Lee Brock Jr., and my very first guest, my dear friend, Mr. Desmond Dunn. Hey, be on the lookout for so many more exciting things and so many more exciting episodes. But in the meantime, you know what to do. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. And feel free to leave anything, any tips and suggestions that we can do to make this show better.
Yeah.
But I hope you guys have an amazing night, or wherever you are, whatever time of day it is. Peace.
Peace.